Captain Kang Hyun stood in front of the big screen on the bridge of his ship. The screen showed a map of the galaxy with red dots marking different star systems. 3 of those red dots had been flashing for the past hour, and each flash made his stomach feel worse. "Show me the report again," he said to his crew. Lieutenant Kim Dae pressed some buttons on his control panel. Numbers and text filled the screen. "Sir, 3 alien races have gone completely silent. No radio signals, no ship movements, no trade communications. Nothing." Kang Hyun rubbed his forehead. He had been a captain for 15 years, but this was something new. Alien races did not just disappear. They might go to war, they might hide, they might even die out slowly, but they did not vanish all at once. Dr. Park Mira walked up to him. She was the ship's expert on alien cultures and had studied dozens of different species. Her face looked worried. "Captain, I have been looking at the data all morning." "This is very strange," she said, holding a tablet in her hands. "Tell me what you found," Kang Hyun replied. Dr. Park Mira touched the tablet screen, and the information appeared on the main display. The first race to disappear was the Vorthak Empire. They have over 2 billion people living on 12 different planets. 6 months ago, they sent a message to Earth calling humans primitive warmongers. They said we were not smart enough to be in space. She touched the screen again. The second race was the Celestial Hierarchy. These are energy beings who live for thousands of years. They are very advanced and think they are better than everyone else. 4 months ago, they called humanity unworthy of the stars. They said we should go back to our home planet and stay there. The screen changed once more. The third race is the hegemony of Tal. They are a military species that loves to fight. 2 months ago, they promised to cleanse the galaxy of human filth. Their exact words. Kang Hyun looked at the 3 pictures on the screen. The Vorthak looked like large insects with blue shells. The Celestial Hierarchy appeared as bright, glowing shapes that could change form. The hegemony of Tal resembled huge lizards that walked on 2 legs and carried big weapons. So all 3 races threatened us, and now they are gone, he said slowly. "Yes, sir. But there is something else," Dr. Park Mira continued. "I found their last transmissions. Each race sent out one final message before they went silent." She played the first message. Strange clicking and buzzing sounds filled the bridge. Then a computer voice translated the words, "We understand now." The second message was different, but the translation was the same. "We understand now." The third message, in the rough growling language of the Tal, also translated to, "We understand now." The bridge became very quiet. Even the normal humming of the ship's engines seemed louder than usual. Communications Officer Han Sol spoke up from her station. "Captain, I have been monitoring all channels. Other alien races are talking about this too. They are scared." "Scared? Of what?" Kang Hyun asked. "Scared of us," Han Sol replied. "Scared of humans." Engineer Choi Sang turned around in his chair. "Sir, I have friends who work on trade ships. They say alien merchants are being very polite to humans now. Too polite. They give us better prices and ask fewer questions." Kang Hyun walked to his captain's chair and sat down. This made no sense. Humans were not the strongest race in the galaxy. They were not the smartest or the most advanced. Earth had only been part of the galactic community for 50 years. Many alien races had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. "Dr. Park, what do you think happened to them?" he asked. "I do not know, Captain, but I think we need to visit their home worlds and find out." Before Kang Hyun could answer, the ship's communication system made a loud beeping sound. The face of Ambassador Lee Yuna appeared on the screen. She looked tired and stressed. "Captain Kang, I need to speak with you immediately," she said. "Yes, Ambassador. You are on an open channel." The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting this morning. 12 more alien races have asked for protection from humans. They want the Council to make rules to keep humans away from their space. "Protection from us? We have not done anything," Kang Hyun said. "I know that and you know that, but they do not believe it. Captain, something is happening out there, and it is making everyone afraid of humanity." I need you to investigate those 3 missing races. Find out what happened to them. We were already planning to do that, Ambassador. Good. But Captain, be very careful. If you find something bad, do not make it public until you talk to me first. The galaxy is already scared. Enough. The communication ended and the bridge was quiet again. Analyst Yujin, who had been working at her station during the conversation, stood up. Captain, I have been looking at the timeline. All 3 races started studying human history about 1 year ago. They requested information from our databases about Earth, human wars, and our culture. That is normal for races that want to understand us, Dr. Park Mira said. Yes, but they requested a lot of information, more than anyone else has ever asked for. They wanted to know about every war we ever fought, every time humans survived, when they should have died, every time we came back from defeat. Security Chief Beite walked over to the group. Sir, my security sources tell me that these 3 races were not just studying us. They were preparing for war. They built new weapons, trained more soldiers, and moved their fleets to attack positions. And then they just stopped, Lieutenant Kim Dae added. Kang Hyun stood up and walked to the front of the bridge. He looked out at the stars through the big window. Somewhere out there, 3 entire alien civilizations had looked at humanity and decided to disappear rather than fight. Set course for the Vorthak home system, he ordered. We are going to find out what scared them so much. As the ship turned toward its new destination, Kang Hyun thought about the message all 3 races had sent. We understand now. What did they understand? What had they learned about humans that made them vanish completely? The stars looked the same as always, but somehow the galaxy felt different now. It felt like humanity had changed without knowing how or why. And that scared Kang Hyun more than any alien threat ever had. In the distance, space looked empty and peaceful. But Kang Hyun knew that emptiness might be the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Because somewhere in that emptiness, 3 civilizations had learned something about humans that made them choose to disappear rather than stay and fight. The ship moved through space toward answers that might be more frightening than the questions themselves. The Vorthak home system appeared on the main screen as Captain Kang Hyun's ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. What they saw made everyone on the bridge stop talking. 3 planets orbited a yellow star, just like in all the old reports. Cities covered the surfaces of all 3 worlds, their lights twinkling like tiny stars. Ships moved between the planets in regular patterns. Everything looked normal and peaceful. I'm reading life support systems operating on all 3 planets. Engineer Choi Sang reported from his station. Power grids are running at full capacity. All their space stations are online. Any radio signals? Captain Kang Hyun asked. Communications Officer Han Sol shook her head. Nothing, sir. No communications. Between the planets, no traffic control signals, no entertainment broadcasts. Complete radio silence. Dr. Park Mira studied her readings carefully. Captain, the cities are still running. I can see lights, moving vehicles, even what looks like normal air traffic. But I am not detecting any Vorthak life signs. What do you mean? Kang Hyun asked. The Vorthak have a specific body chemistry. Our sensors should be able to find them easily. But there are none on any of the 3 planets. 0. Lieutenant Kim Dae looked up from his controls. Sir, I am scanning their spaceships. All of them are empty. No crew, no passengers, nothing. Kang Hyun felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Take us to the main planet. Put us in orbit and prepare a landing team. The ship moved closer to the largest of the 3 worlds. Through the windows they could see huge cities with tall buildings and wide roads. Vehicles moved along the roads in perfect patterns. Lights turned on and off in the buildings. But no living beings could be seen anywhere. It looks like everyone just left, Security Chief Beite said quietly. 2 hours later, Dr. Park Mira led a small team down to the surface. Captain Kang Hyun went with them, along with Lieutenant Kim Dae and Engineer Choi Sang. They landed their shuttle in the middle of the largest city. The city was beautiful and clean. The buildings were made of a blue crystal material that reflected sunlight in pretty patterns. Gardens with strange alien plants were everywhere. Fountains sprayed water high into the air. But there were no people. This is very strange, Dr. Park Mira said as they walked down a main street. Look at everything around us. She pointed to a food stand on the corner. Fresh alien fruits were displayed in neat rows. That food is still fresh. It was put out this morning. Engineer Choi Sang checked a nearby building. The lights are on inside. I can hear machines working normally. Someone should be here running this place. They walked to what looked like a government building in the center of the city. The doors opened automatically when they approached. Inside, computer screens showed information scrolling past in Vorthak writing. Elevators moved up and down, even though no one called for them. It is like everyone just walked away, Lieutenant Kim Dae said. They found the main computer center on the 10th floor. Dr. Park Mira connected her translation device to the Vorthak computers and started reading their files. Captain, you need to see this, she said after a few minutes. The computer screen showed thousands of files about humans. There were detailed reports about Earth's history, human wars, and human behavior. Dr. Park Mira opened one file after another. They studied. Everything about us, she explained. Every war we ever fought. Every time humans faced extinction and survived. Every example of human cooperation and human violence. Captain Kang Hyun read over her shoulder. Even translated into human language, the Vorthak reports were detailed and careful. They had spent months learning about humanity. Look at this, Dr. Park Mira said, opening another file. They analyzed human psychology. They studied how humans react under pressure, how we form groups, how we make decisions. What did they conclude? Kang Hyun asked. Dr. Park Mira kept reading. They were confused at first. They could not understand how humans could be so violent with each other, but also work together when threatened by outsiders. They studied the world wars, where humans fought each other with terrible weapons, then joined together to fight common enemies. She opened more files. They looked at human colony wars where different human groups fought over resources, but then united immediately when alien pirates attacked. They found dozens of examples like this. Engineer Choi Sang found another computer terminal. Captain, this one has military analysis. They studied human fighting techniques, human weapons, and human tactics. The reports were even more detailed than the psychology files. The Vorthak had examined every human military conflict they could find information about. They had tried to understand human strategy and human adaptability in battle. They were particularly interested in how humans learn. Engineer Choi Sang continued. They noted that humans change their tactics very quickly when old methods do not work. They also noted that humans fight harder when they are losing. Lieutenant Kim Dae found a third computer with economic and social analysis. They studied human trade, human government, and human technology development. They wanted to understand everything about how human society works. Captain Kang Hyun looked at all the research around him. This is incredible. They spent more time studying us than some human universities do. Dr. Park Mira opened a folder marked with Vorthak symbols that meant final assessment. The file was much longer than the others, and the translation took several minutes. Captain, this is their conclusion about humanity, she said. They decided that humans are not like other species they have met before. How so? According to this, most species in the galaxy develop along predictable lines. They become either peaceful traders, aggressive warriors, or scientific researchers. But humans do all three at the same time, and they switch between them quickly, depending on the situation. She kept reading. The Vorthak were confused because human behavior does not follow the normal patterns. They say humans can be incredibly generous and helpful, but also completely ruthless when threatened. They cannot predict what humans will do in any given situation. Captain Kang Hyun felt that cold feeling in his stomach again. What was their final decision? Dr. Park Mira read the last part of the file slowly. They concluded that war with humans would not follow normal rules. They could not predict how humans would respond, how quickly humans would adapt to Vorthak tactics, or what methods humans might use to fight back. So they decided not to fight us? More than that, they decided to leave the galaxy completely. The room became very quiet. Through the windows, they could see the empty city stretching out in all directions. "There is one more file," Dr. Park Mira said. "It contains their evacuation plan." The file showed detailed maps of Vorthak space and beyond. The Vorthak had planned to move their entire civilization to a different part of the universe, far away, from human space. According to this, they finished the evacuation 3 weeks ago. Dr. Park Mira continued. Every Vorthak citizen was moved to ships and taken away. They left everything behind. Their cities, their planets, their entire civilization. Rather than risk a war with humanity, Lieutenant Kim Dae looked around at all the empty buildings. They were so afraid of us that they gave up everything they had built here? It appears so. Captain Kang Hyun walked to the window and looked out at the city. Everything was still, running perfectly, waiting for people who would never come back. Dr. Park, send all this information to the ship. We need to visit the other 2 missing civilizations and see if they did the same thing. As they prepared to leave, Captain Kang Hyun thought about what they had discovered. The Vorthak had not been destroyed in battle. They had not been conquered or defeated. They had studied humans carefully and decided that any conflict with humanity was too dangerous to risk. They had chosen to disappear rather than find out what would happen if they challenged the human race. Captain Kang Hyun's ship traveled to the home system of the celestial hierarchy next. The journey took 3 days, and during that time Dr. Park Mira studied all the information they had gathered from the Vorthak computers. "Captain, the pattern is becoming clear," she reported during their morning meeting. "The Vorthak did not just study human military history. They studied everything. Our art, our music, our literature, our philosophy. They wanted to understand the human mind completely." "Did they succeed?" Kang Hyun asked. "I think they understood us better than we understand ourselves, and that is what scared them. When they arrived at the celestial hierarchy's home system, they found something even stranger than empty planets. The hierarchy lived in huge structures made of pure energy that floated in space around their star. These structures were still there, still glowing with bright light, but they were empty too. The energy patterns are still active," reported physicist Namsu, who had joined the crew for this part of their investigation. "These beings do not need physical bodies like we do. They exist as pure thought and energy, but I cannot detect any consciousness in any of these structures." Communications Officer Han Sol tried to contact the energy structures using the special communication methods the hierarchy normally used. "No response, Captain. The structures can receive messages, but no one is answering." Security Chief Bae Tae scanned the area carefully. "Sir, there are no ships here either. The hierarchy used energy-based vessels, but I am not detecting any of them in this entire system." Captain Kang Hyun ordered a team to investigate the largest energy structure. Since the hierarchy existed as energy beings, the team had to use special suits that could interact with energy fields. Inside the structure, they found something amazing. The entire history of the galaxy was stored in energy patterns that covered the walls. Battles, peace treaties, the rise and fall of civilizations. Everything was recorded in beautiful glowing displays. "This is incredible," Dr. Park Mira said as she studied the displays. "The hierarchy has been keeping records for over 50,000 years." Analyst Yu Jin used her equipment to read the energy patterns. "Captain, I found the section about humans. It is much larger than the sections for any other species." The human section of the display showed Earth's history from the very beginning. It showed the ice ages that nearly killed all human life. It showed diseases that wiped out huge populations. It showed wars that destroyed entire civilizations. But it also showed how humans always survived and came back stronger. "Look at this calculation," physicist Nam Su said, pointing to a complex energy pattern. The hierarchy tried to predict human survival rates using mathematical models. Every time they ran the numbers, humans should have gone extinct. "But we did not," Dr. Park Mira said. "That is exactly what confused them. According to their mathematics, humans have survived at least 12 events that should have ended our species completely." Yu Jin found more energy patterns that showed the hierarchy's confusion. They could not understand how humans keep surviving impossible situations. They studied other species and found normal patterns. When a species faces extinction-level threats, they either die out or they change into something completely different. What makes humans different? Captain Kang Hyun asked. According to this, humans do both at the same time. We change when we need to, but we also stay the same. The hierarchy could not find any other species that does this. They found the hierarchy's final analysis in the deepest part of the energy structure. The patterns here were different, darker, and more complex. This is their conclusion about humanity, Yujin explained as she read the energy patterns. They decided that humans are not just another intelligent species. They call us something that translates to adaptive infinity. What does that mean? It means they think humans can adapt to any challenge and keep growing stronger without limit. They calculated that human abilities will continue increasing forever, while other species reach a maximum level and stop growing. Dr. Park Mira found another section that showed the hierarchy's fear. Captain, they were not just afraid of fighting humans. They were afraid of existing in the same universe as humans. The energy patterns showed the hierarchy's belief that humans would eventually become so powerful that they would change the basic nature of reality itself, not through conquest or war, but simply by being human and continuing to grow. They thought we would accidentally destroy everything just by becoming more than we are now, Dr. Park Mira continued. So they left. They did more than leave. According to these patterns, they moved to a completely different dimension. They found a way to exist outside our reality entirely. Captain Kang Hyun felt overwhelmed by what they were learning. The Vorthak had fled to distant parts of space, but the hierarchy had fled from space itself. Their investigation of the third missing race, the hegemony of Tal, revealed the most disturbing information yet. The Tal were warriors who loved fighting and had never backed down from any challenge in their entire history. Their home planets were covered with monuments to famous battles and great warriors, but like the others, the Tal were gone. Their cities were empty, their ships were abandoned, and their warrior culture had vanished overnight. The Tal left behind detailed battle plans, Security Chief Beite reported as they explored the main Tal military headquarters. They had prepared for a massive war against humanity. They built new weapons, trained millions of soldiers, and developed tactics specifically designed to fight humans. What kind of tactics? Captain Kang Hyun asked. Everything they could think of. Direct assault, guerrilla warfare, psychological warfare, economic warfare, biological warfare. They prepared for every possible type of conflict. Dr. Park Mira found the Tal's research files in their main computer system. Captain, the Tal studied human military history more carefully than the others. They analyzed every human war and tried to find weaknesses they could exploit. Did they find any? That is the problem. They found weaknesses, but they also found that humans always overcome their weaknesses during the actual fighting. The Tal could not find any weakness that humans had not already fixed when they needed to. Engineer Choi Sang discovered the most important information in the Tal military archives. Sir, the Tal ran computer simulations of a war with humans, thousands of different scenarios, using all their knowledge of human tactics and psychology. What were the results? Every simulation ended the same way. No matter how the war started, no matter what advantages the Tal had at the beginning, humans always won in the end. Even when the Tal had better weapons and more soldiers? Especially then. According to these simulations, humans fight harder when they are outmatched. The Tal found that giving humans a challenge just makes them more dangerous. Lieutenant Kim Dae found the final Tal military report. Captain, their conclusion was that humans are not just warriors. They are evolution itself. The report says that fighting humans would not just mean losing a war. It would mean helping humans become even stronger. How so? The Tal believed that every challenge makes humans more adaptable. They thought that by fighting humans, they would accidentally help humanity develop new abilities and new ways of thinking. The war would make humans more powerful than they were before. Captain Kang Hyun sat down in one of the empty Tal command chairs. Around him, computer screens still showed battle plans that would never be used and weapon designs that would never be built. So all three races reached the same conclusion, he said slowly. They all decided that challenging humanity was too dangerous, but for different reasons. The Vorthak were afraid because they could not predict what humans would do. Dr. Park Mira summarized. The hierarchy was afraid because they thought humans would never stop growing stronger. The Tal were afraid because they thought fighting humans would make humans even more dangerous. And now 12 more alien races are asking for protection. From us, Captain Kang Hyun added. As they prepared to return to their ship, Captain Kang Hyun realized that something fundamental had changed in the galaxy. 3 powerful civilizations had looked at humanity and decided that the safest option was to disappear completely. The question now was what humanity would do with a galaxy that was suddenly afraid of them, and whether the aliens were right to be afraid. 6 months after Captain Kang Hyun's investigation, the galaxy had changed completely. Ambassador Lee Yuna sat in the main assembly hall of the Galactic Council, looking at rows of seats that were only half full. Many species had simply stopped attending council meetings. The remaining alien representatives looked nervous whenever they had to speak to her. They spoke quietly and politely, always agreeing with whatever humans suggested. It was not the kind of respect that came from admiration. It was the kind that came from fear. "Ambassador Lee," said the representative from the Zephyrian Republic, "my government would like to formally request that human colonies be established in our territory." Lee Yuna was surprised. "You want human colonies in your space?" "Yes. We believe that having humans nearby will protect us from any hostile species that might threaten our worlds." "What hostile species? Your territory has been peaceful for hundreds of years." The Zephyrian representative looked uncomfortable. "We do not know what threats might appear in the future, but we know that no species would be foolish enough to attack a system protected by humans." This was the 15th such request Lee Yuna had received in the past month. Alien species across the galaxy were asking humans to establish colonies, military bases, or trade stations in their territory, not because they wanted human help, but because they believed the mere presence of humans would keep them safe. "I will discuss your request with Earth Command," she replied diplomatically. After the council session ended, Lee Yuna returned to her office and called Captain Kang Hyun on the secure communication channel. His face appeared on the screen, and she could see that he looked tired. "Ambassador, the situation is getting stranger every day," he reported. "My ship has been assigned to investigate more missing civilizations. We are up to 23 species that have completely disappeared. Are they all following the same pattern?" "Yes. Detailed research about humanity, followed by complete evacuation. But we are also finding something new." "What is it?" "Some species are not just leaving our galaxy, they are leaving this dimension entirely. We found evidence that at least 6 civilizations have developed technology to move to parallel universes, just to get away from humans." Lee Yuna rubbed her forehead. "This is getting out of control." "It gets worse. We intercepted communications from a species called the Mindari. They are planning to use time travel to go back and prevent humans from ever developing spaceflight. Can they do that? We do not know, but they think they can, and they are desperate enough to try it." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Park Mira had been promoted to head the new Institute for Human Galactic Relations. Her job was to study how humanity's reputation was affecting the rest of the galaxy. "Captain, I need to show you something important," she said during a video conference with Kang Hyun and Ambassador Lee Yuna. "We have been monitoring galactic communications, and we found a disturbing trend." The screen showed a map of the galaxy, with different colors representing different alien civilizations. "This is what the galaxy looked like 1 year ago," Dr. Park Mira explained. "Each color represents a different species, and you can see that they were spread throughout the galaxy in a fairly even pattern." She changed the display. "This is what the galaxy looks like now." The new map showed huge empty spaces around every human colony and territory. The alien civilizations had moved away from human space, creating buffer zones that were getting larger every month. "At the current rate, humans will have the entire inner galaxy to ourselves within 5 years," Dr. Park Mira continued. "Not because we conquered it, but because everyone else is moving away from us." "What are they afraid we will do?" Lee Yuna asked. "According to our analysis of their communications, they are not afraid of what we will do on purpose. They are afraid of what we might do by accident. Dr. Park Mira showed examples of alien discussions that her team had intercepted and translated. They believe that humans are so adaptable and so quick to grow stronger that we might accidentally become something that changes the basic nature of reality. That is ridiculous, Captain Kang Hyun said. Is it? Think about what we have accomplished in just the past 50 years since we joined the galactic community. We went from being a single-planet species to having colonies in over 200 star systems. We developed faster-than-light travel that is more efficient than anything other species use. We created artificial intelligence systems that can solve problems other species thought were impossible. Those are normal technological advances, Lee Yuna protested. Not at the rate we achieved them. Most species take thousands of years to spread to that many star systems. We did it in 50 years. Most species take millions of years to develop truly efficient space travel. We improved on galactic standard technology within decades of seeing it for the first time. Dr. Park Mira showed more data. The aliens have calculated that if humans continue developing at our current rate, we will have capabilities that they cannot even imagine within a few hundred years. They think we might become something that is no longer bound by the same physical laws that limit other species. Lieutenant Kim Dae, who had been assigned to help with the research, added his own findings. We also discovered that some alien species are changing their entire civilizations just to avoid competing with humans in any way. What do you mean? Species that used to be explorers and colonists are becoming isolationists who never leave their home systems. Species that used to be traders are becoming completely self-sufficient, so they do not have to interact with human merchants. Species that used to be warriors are becoming pacifists. They are changing who they are as a species just to avoid any situation where they might have to compete with humans, Dr. Park Mira explained. 6 months later, the transformation of the galaxy was complete. Captain Kang Hyun stood on the bridge of his ship, looking at a star chart that would have been impossible to imagine just 2 years earlier. Sir, we have received formal recognition from the Galactic Council, Communications Officer Han Sol reported. Humanity has been designated as a guardian species. What does that mean? It means that other species are officially asking us to protect them, not from any specific threat, but from any threat that might appear in the future. They want us to be the galaxy's protectors? They want us to be the galaxy's insurance policy. They believe that as long as humans exist and continue developing, nothing truly dangerous can threaten the galaxy because humans will adapt to stop it. Dr. Park Mira, who was now a permanent member of Kang Hyun's crew, looked up from her research station. Captain, I have been analyzing the long-term effects of what has happened. The galaxy has achieved something unprecedented. Complete peace. Because everyone is too afraid of us to fight? Because everyone knows that any major conflict would eventually involve humans, and involving humans in a conflict means that humans will develop new capabilities to deal with that conflict. No species wants to be responsible for accidentally making humans even more powerful than we already are. So we have peace through fear. We have peace through respect for human adaptability. The galaxy has realized that humans are the ultimate problem solvers, and they do not want to become a problem that needs solving. Engineer Choi Sang, who was monitoring long-range sensors, made an announcement. Captain, we are receiving a message from outside our galaxy. It appears to be from a species we have never encountered before. Put it on screen. The message was in a completely alien language, but the ship's computers were able to translate it. Greetings to the humans of the Milky Way galaxy. We have heard of your reputation from species that have fled to our region of space. We wish to establish peaceful relations and request permission to enter your territory safely. Captain Kang Hyun realized that humanity's reputation had spread beyond their own galaxy. Species in other parts of the universe were hearing about humans and deciding that the safest approach was immediate peaceful contact. Send a reply. He ordered. Tell them they are welcome to visit, and that humans are always interested in making new friends. As the message was transmitted across the vast distances between galaxies, Captain Kang Hyun reflected on what humanity had become. They had not conquered the galaxy through war, or forced other species to submit through violence. Instead, they had become so successful at being human, adaptive, persistent, and always growing stronger, that other species voluntarily gave them a position of leadership. The galaxy was now organized around a simple principle. Humans were the species that could handle any challenge that arose, so it was better to be protected by humans than to risk becoming a challenge that humans needed to handle. Dr. Park Mira looked at the star charts showing the new galactic order. "Captain, we have accidentally created the most peaceful period in galactic history. No species wants to fight because they know that any major conflict will just result in humans becoming more advanced. And the species that could not accept, that chose to disappear rather than adapt to the new reality," Captain Kang Hyun concluded. "Those who challenged humans disappeared," she agreed. "And those who remained learned that cooperation with humans was the safest path to survival." Back on his ship, Captain Kang Hyun called a meeting with his senior staff. They had visited all 3 missing civilizations and found the same pattern everywhere. Detailed research about humanity followed by complete evacuation. "We need to understand what these alien races discovered about us," he told his team. "Dr. Park, I want you to compile all their research and see if we can figure out what scared them so much." Dr. Park Mira had been working on this problem for days. She had collected thousands of alien files about human history, psychology, and behavior. "Captain, I think I know what they found, but you might not like the answer." "Tell me." Dr. Park Mira activated the main display screen. It showed a timeline of human history with key events marked in different colors. The aliens were right about one thing: humans are different from other species in the galaxy. She pointed to the earliest part of the timeline. Most intelligent species develop on stable worlds with few major disasters. They grow slowly and steadily over millions of years. But Earth has always been dangerous. The screen showed ice ages, asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, and climate changes. Humans developed intelligence while facing constant threats. We learned to adapt quickly because we had to, or we would die. Other species learned to adapt too, Security Chief Beite pointed out. "Yes, but not like humans," Dr. Park Mira replied. She changed the display to show graphs comparing different species. "When most species face a crisis, they either solve it with existing methods or they die. Humans do something different. We change the way we think about problems." Analyst Yu Jin leaned forward in her chair. "What do you mean?" "The aliens found examples throughout human history where we faced impossible situations and then invented entirely new ways of dealing with them. We do not just use better tools. We think in completely new ways." Dr. Park Mira showed examples on the screen. When humans first started farming, they did not just find better wild plants. They changed the plants themselves through selective breeding. When humans started building cities, they did not just copy nature. They created artificial environments that were better than nature. When humans started flying, we did not just copy birds, Engineer Choi Sang added. We invented machines that could fly better than any bird. Exactly. The alien races studied this pattern and realized that humans do not just adapt to challenges. We change the challenges themselves. We turn problems into advantages. Captain Kang Hyun studied the information on the screen. But lots of species use tools and solve problems. Not like this, Dr. Park Mira continued. The aliens discovered that humans have something they called recursive adaptation. When we face a new problem, we not only solve that problem, we also get better at solving future problems that we have never seen before. Can you give me a simple example? Wars, Security Chief Beite said suddenly. Human wars are different from alien conflicts. Dr. Park Mira nodded. The aliens studied human military history very carefully. They found that every time humans fight a war, we do not just try to win that war. We develop new technologies and strategies that make us better at winning all future wars. She showed battle data from human conflicts. After World War I, humans invented radar, better aircraft, and improved communications. After World War II, we developed computers, rockets, and nuclear energy. Each war taught us things that helped us in completely different areas. The Vietnam War led to improvements in medical treatment and jungle warfare, Lieutenant Kim Dae added. The Gulf Wars led to precision weapons and satellite technology. But we are not the only species that fights wars, Captain Kang Hyun said. No, but we might be the only species that gets smarter from fighting them, Dr. Park Mira replied. Most species use the same basic strategies for thousands of years. They get better weapons, but they fight wars the same way their ancestors did. Humans change the entire concept of warfare every few generations, Security Chief Beite continued. We went from sword fighting to gunpowder to air combat to space warfare to cyber warfare. Each time we completely changed the rules. Physicist Nam Soo, who had been quiet during the discussion, finally spoke up. Captain, I found something else in the alien research that is even more disturbing. What is it? They discovered that humans are still evolving, but not biologically. We are evolving mentally and socially at an incredible rate. Nam Soo showed new graphs on the screen. Most species reach a stable level of intelligence and technology, then stay at that level for millions of years. But human capabilities have been increasing exponentially for the past few thousand years. The rate of increase is also increasing, he continued. Humans learn faster now than they did 100 years ago. They solve problems faster, develop new technologies faster, and adapt to changes faster. The aliens calculated that human abilities double every 50 years or so, analyst Eugene added. But the doubling time is getting shorter. Soon it might be every 20 years, then every 10 years. Captain Kang Hyun felt a chill run down his spine. What does that mean for the future? According to the alien calculations, there is no upper limit to human development, Dr. Park Mira answered. Other species reach a maximum level and stop growing. Humans just keep getting more capable forever. The Vorthak were afraid because they realized that any war with humans would not stay the same kind of war. She continued. Humans would change the nature of the conflict itself while it was happening. They would invent new ways to fight that the Vorthak could not predict or prepare for. The hierarchy was afraid because they calculated that humans would eventually become more powerful than the laws of physics themselves, physicist Nam Soo added. They thought humans would accidentally break reality by becoming too advanced. The Dai Tal were afraid because they realized that challenging humans would make humans stronger, Security Chief Beite concluded. Every threat humanity faces teaches us something new. Fighting us would be like helping us evolve. Communications Officer Han Sol had been monitoring messages from across the galaxy during their discussion. Captain, I am receiving reports from 12 different sectors. More alien races are evacuating their territories near human space. How many? At least 6 more civilizations have gone silent in the past week, and 15 others have sent formal requests to move their populations away from any star systems near human colonies. Captain Kang Hyun walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the stars. So we have become the thing that the galaxy is most afraid of, and we did not even know it. It gets worse, Captain, Dr. Park Mira said quietly. The alien research suggests that this process is accelerating. As humans spread to more planets and encounter more challenges, our development rate increases even faster. Every new environment teaches us something new, Engineer Choi Sang agreed. Every problem we solve makes us better at solving the next problem. And every species that studies us learns enough to decide they should disappear rather than compete. With us, Lieutenant Kim Dae added. Captain Kang Hyun realized that humanity had reached a turning point. They had become so successful at adapting and growing that other intelligent species were fleeing from them entirely. The question was no longer what had happened to the missing alien races. The question was what would happen to the galaxy when every other species decided that the safest place to be was as far away from humans as possible. Set course for Earth, Captain Kang Hyun ordered. We need to report this to command immediately. They need to know that humanity has accidentally become the most feared species in the galaxy. As the ship turned toward home, Captain Kang Hyun wondered if the aliens were right to be afraid. Maybe humanity really was something new and dangerous. Maybe they really would keep growing and changing until they became something that the rest of the universe could not understand or predict. And maybe that was exactly what made them human.